Hello, my name is Vincent Vermeulen, and I'm a business strategy director with Armis, which is now part of ServiceNow. And I'm here to give you a bit of an overview of our continuous threat exposure management platform called Centrix. So when we talk about continuous threat exposure management, the very first order of business is to really understand the types of assets that you have in your environment that pose a risk to your business. So here we have a bit of an overview of the types of devices and the types of assets that we discover and from which we start working in understanding vulnerabilities and the kinds of things that you need to take care of. So for examples, virtual machines, PLCs, medical devices, IoT devices, all these kinds of different kinds of devices can bring risk into your environment. So the first order of business is to discover these. So how does Armis do this? We have really two main ways of bringing that information into our platform. Number one is we have integrations with all various management platforms, such as CrowdStrike, SCCM, we think of Tanium, or even infrastructure devices or wireless LAN controllers, Aruba, etc., that give us information about assets, and we can gather that through APIs. So how does Armis do this? We really have two main sources of information about assets and devices. Number one is management systems that already exist and have asset information that we can aggregate or pull through APIs. So think of CrowdStrike, SCCM, Active Directory, or even infrastructure like Aruba or wireless LAN controllers. The second source of information is the network traffic itself. We'll listen to span traffic or port mirror traffic in order to understand what those devices are doing, how they're behaving, and we can then compare that to our global knowledge base in order to identify them and make sure that their behavior is in line with what we see globally. So with those two pieces of information, we can then build an entire list of devices within the environment and have a huge amount of detail that are really relevant for, number one, the IT managers, the vulnerability managers, and other people that are in the security groups within the organization. The end goal here is to create a risk score that is based on those behaviors that we see, as well as the vulnerabilities that we've detected on the devices themselves. So now we're at the point where we have a nice list. We have quite a few devices that need some kind of action being taken on them, and a lot of vulnerabilities perhaps that need to be addressed within the organization. So this now feeds into the next level, a module we call Viper, or vulnerability and prioritization and remediation. Here, now you get a full overview of your entire risk score for the organization, as well as a breakdown of critical findings, high findings, medium, and low findings. This helps you prioritize where you need to take action. Once again, we're ingesting information from multiple sources, and we're normalizing this and deduplicating it, so it makes it much easier for you to figure out, okay, if I apply this particular remediation, that will take care of these sets of vulnerabilities in order to, number one, prioritize and make you more efficient. Once that's done, we also identify who the owners are from a remediation perspective or from an asset ownership perspective, and then create the appropriate tickets in the various platforms. Here are just two, but we have multiple integrations with, for example, Jira or Managed Desk, or obviously ServiceNow. Once the appropriate parties have taken care of those tickets and closed them out, it then feeds back into the system and starts reducing the risk score so that you have a live view of your current threat exposure within the environment itself. So that is a very, very quick overview of what Armis does when it comes to threat exposure management, all the way from the discovery of devices to remediation and feeding it back into a visibility of your risk to your business.